day in, day out.
Julia, it's hard to even think about. And the child is told he's not allowed to turn the air conditioning, Julia, and it makes you wonder how a child can even sleep and rest peacefully.
Not that we know of yet. Nothing that's come into evidence that the neighbors noticed anything suspicious or that they shared anything with police. Only the man who constructed this structure, he felt uneasy about it and did contact police.
Yeah, these ferreters, they were sure stealth. Julia, it's so great having you be able to watch what these jurors are watching and share it with us. You're going to continue doing that as we continue watching the videotaped evidence and listening to it live.
See, I didn't know they was gonna. I thought they was gonna talk. Oh, they're not gonna let us hear. They're not gonna let us hear, y'all. Hold on 1 second. I thought I was gonna be able to just show it to y'all. I didn't know they was gonna do this. I don't know they couldn't. So hold on for 1 second.
Moving to the front. Did you say Baba saw that? Is he covered it? That's what you need, right? I already did it. I don't know why I have 2 copies of that. You don't need those? No. Your pencils, right? Yeah. Okay. Right on. I don't know.
And again, this is some of the video. We can hear the audio. We can't show you the video because the young victim who's a juvenile is on that video. But Julia's, we're listening to this and what's being said. And, you know, it's like it sounds to me like there's so many times where we're watching what the victim's doing that you've been describing, sitting, reading a book throughout this day. It's now 7. All right, we know that's at 7:03. He's saying to him, let's go take a shower. And again, he asked him, Julia, he seems to do this every time he goes in there too. Is your bucket clean? Yeah. So he knows he's giving him that bucket for
I mean, you know, it says this is sad. This is really traumatized, y'all. You let your child live, it becomes your child when it's adopted, when they are adopted. You coming in and out of that room like that? Sheesh. I'm thinking like, what I do?
the 15th of 2022.
And y'all, they're not gonna let. I'm gonna see. Can I find y'all something else? Because they're not gonna show that one. They trying to be respectful because it's a child involved. Okay. I think I already did day 3. I think I did day 3 already. But if I have, I would change it. Let me see. Let me hold on for a minute. Okay, I did a cross examiner. Okay. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll look at let's go right here to the psychiatrist. Let's start.
Now, do this type of treatment of a child can
Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure y'all can see. Okay, wait. Let me see. Make sure y'all can see everything.
it stunt their intellectual growth?
Yes, it can.
Can it stunt their psychological growth?
It can, yes.
Is there a reasonable likelihood when a person engages in this type of behavior towards a child that there is going to be psychological injury or mental injury as a result?
You said, is there
a likelihood?
Yes, there is a substantial likelihood.
Now, in this case, did you see, based on the evidence that you were able to review, is there a pattern of isolation of the child?
Yes, it's he for nearly 3 years was isolated in the cell for the better part of each day. I mean, as far as hours, it sounds like when he wasn't at school, let's say he's at school for 8 hours, he's then in the box for 14, 16 hours a day.
Now,
on a daily basis. So yeah, a very much established pattern.
did you, and I think you say isolation, is it fair to say that there is also a pattern of confinement here of the child?
Yes, they're essentially one and the same in this case, it would seem.
Were you able to observe a pattern of a deprivation of the child?
Yes, there was emotional deprivation, there was physical deprivation, there was intellectual or cognitive deprivation where he wasn't really provided much in the way of anything to stimulate his mind or to entertain himself. I mean,
is isolation, confinement, and deprivation considered an acceptable way to punish a child?
No, it's not. It would be counter-therapeutic to disciplining a child. But we're not talking about a 5-year-old who might have a temper tantrum and you want to give them a timeout for 5 minutes in their room. I mean, that's something. Timeouts are an accepted form of discipline.
So does it make a difference, in your opinion, the duration of the isolation, confinement, and duration? And deprivation?
Oh, it's a huge difference. Sure, if it's a short duration for younger children, it can be appropriate. But again, I'm talking in terms of minutes, not hours. But in terms of doing it every day, day after day for most of the day, I'm out with a younger child.
And even just looking at the time frame that happened in Florida, those 5 to 6 weeks. That amount of time frame, is that harmful?
Yes, undoubtedly it would be for about any child, I'm sure.
Or would it be correct to characterize what the treatment that he was subjected to as solitary confinement?
Yes.
Is solitary confinement within the psychological community, is that something that is considered appropriate for a child?
No, and in fact, years ago, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, which I'm a member of, came out with a statement strongly arguing against children, even in juvenile detention centers, having solitary confinement because it's detrimental psychological impacts.
Is it considered damaging to brain development of a child?
It is, yes. That's another aspect of it, is that it can cause literally changes to one's brain structure.
Now, even within the setting of a criminal justice system where it might be part of a child subjected to that in the criminal justice system, is it acceptable for them to be in long-term solitary confinement?
No, it is not.
Even in those circumstances of a criminal justice system, is a child, when confined to a cell, given access to water and facilities to relieve themselves?
Well, yes, it would be very different. There's a bed in the room. There's a toilet. There's a sink where they always have access to water, so they wouldn't be subject to a dehydration. For instance, there's officers where they can always call out to somebody if they need something. There's lighting. It would never be pitch black in a juvenile detention center. So they would not be subjected to that sort of sensory deprivation of being in a totally dark room for hours at a time. And they're served meals. There wouldn't be any holding back of meals as some sort of punishment for a child into the detention center.
Now, discussing the isolation specifically, is there a detrimental impact to a child to be socially and physically isolated the way that Ronan Farrer was from the rest of the family?
I'm sorry.
Is there a negative impact associated with the social and physical isolation?
Well, that's part of the trauma of this, is that he's kept from having a normal family environment where he comes out and is socializing with his peers and spending time with his parents and doing things together and having fun and just having a normal family experience. He's segregated as soon as he gets home, and the children all know he's in the box, but it's giving him the message that you're not valued, you're unloved, you're not important, you're not part of this family, where you're being rejected.
Is it setting a message that he fundamentally is bad?
Yes, and that you're right, and that you're bad. You're not able to be part of this family because you're bad.
Now, during the course of reviewing the evidence in this case, did you become aware of whether or not his confinement in the structure in the garage was absolute? Was it at all times?
With infrequent exceptions, yes. I mean, he did occasionally have some after-school activities, as I understand, more so I think in Arizona than when he got to Florida, where he might be allowed to run track or do some track at school.
And he went to school?
Yes.
You saw that. And there were, did you find that there were some also infrequent examples of when he was allowed to interact with the family?
Yes, he went to, for instance, siblings softball practices. They did go out to, I think they went out to dinner a few times.
Does the isolation and confinement and deprivation, does it have to be absolute, like at all times?
No, it doesn't. No.
I was on mute, y'all. I apologize. I was on mute. This is getting good, y'all. This is getting good. No child deserves to live this way. No child deserves to live like this. No. I wonder what people getting where they making the kids. Ever since the pandemic, seems like they don't went in prison doing stuff like this. I mean, gosh. Tell me what you think, real deal. I'm out.